This is my in-depth review of the all-new Mercedes S-Class, including Autobahn driving and a nighttime driving feature. Let's go! You're watching Autogefühl with Thomas and the all-new Mercedes S-Class V223, so the standard US version or the one with long wheelbase in Europe. Here in the AMG line, that means a sportier styling here in the front, but it's not as sporty as, for example, when you compare E63 versus normal E-Class. Here, the AMG styling is the most prominent thing is actually here in this part, this air intake. The grille doesn't look too different, and also in the S-Class, the AMG still gets the standing star in the front, which is, you know, it just fits to the S-Class, and I think it's good that they kept it here with this model. Then the lamps come standard with multi-beam LED function and optional the so-called digital light with micro mirrors, which can also project things on the road actually. And here just only one daytime running light stripe. I think that's not a good decision. They now differentiate it with dots. So the S-Class gets 3 dots, the E-Class 2 dots inside, and the C-Class 1. And you have this huge sensor area. They are hidden behind this one. It looks fancy, but what I found out by mistake is like when you squeeze it, you hear that? That doesn't sound too good, right? Oh, and what I always love, here when you have dark exterior color and then the bright interior color, mixes so well this contrast, right? The length is at 5 meters 29 or 208 inches, has grown a little bit in length if you compare it to the predecessor, and wheels come actually from 18 to 21 inch. These here are the 20 inch wheels, and I think they have a very interesting styling. Would you notice what the color is? Oh, yeah, the handles go in. I just touched them here, yeah, barely, so they fold in and out. Soon more details to that. So the color here, it looks black, right? But if you look closely, it has some brown shade, so it's actually a very, very dark brown. Or black with brown accentuations? I don't know. Classic for an S-Class is here, this bow right there, from the from a C-pillar here. This is how you actually realize it's an S-Class, and the end of the bow is almost here at the center of the back wheel in the middle part like this. This is the typical S-Class design element and the typical sedan shape. Rear axle steering is a big highlight. Here in the rear axle, you can see it also from these shots, and it's the most important technology feature, I think, because the rear wheels can go up to 10 degrees in the opposite direction, and that actually reduces the turning circle by 2 meters. That's enormous. And air suspension is standard. Optional, you can get the e-active body control, that the car can also a little bit lean into the corner. The rear looks sleeker than before, and here these tail lamps make it at the same time wider, so a more fluent design here. This is general at the moment theme with the Mercedes design language, but it also looks, you know, less differentiating if you compare the smaller Mercedes sedans. S500 is our version for today. Always comes with all-wheel drive, says 4MATIC right here, has a rear-wheel bias. Then Autogefühl fake exhaust police, because the real exhaust on the inside. Yeah, but then this extended tip. I don't know. What do you think? I think not. So far only with BMW. Here now at Mercedes, when you open the hood, pull it twice and then it's actually opened. That's really the cool thing. Yes, I'm showing the standing star once again. That's the cool thing here. Then you can just lift it up and there it is. And you have 3-liter 6-cylinders and also 4-liter V8. And then the 12-cylinder for the Maybach version. You can also find the review here on our channel. And then there are the diesels, 3-liter diesels for Europe. And this one here, the S500, 430 horsepower, 4.9 seconds in the acceleration. And there will also be plug-in hybrids. Then inside of the door, beautiful job here with the matte wood interior actually. And this is the light switch that also works pretty well, easy. But then here this one button philosophy. So this is like one button field for the seat cooling, seat heating, also the memory function. And it just appears cheap when it's like just one button with this capacitive function. These are better, the window levers, definitely. Then this is the AMG line also on the interior. So we have AMG floor mats and also these aluminum pedals. And the AMG steering wheel, which has a good handle. It's really nice while driving. Has these 2 horizontal spokes right there. This is really interesting. Looks cool, and also the size is great. But then once again the capacitive buttons where you have to slide, and that's especially while driving, again not a step forward but rather backwards. As for the seating position, super comfortable. I just love it. It's very soft, very plush, and especially long term. I've also driven this car now, almost 800 kilometers in our test here, and this was no problem at all. And for me, it's 86 or 6.1, still leaves some headroom. This is the one then here with a panoramic roof. Interior overview, 12.3-inch digital instruments, 12.8-inch central screen. And this is here all piano lacquer, so this collects so much scratches and fingerprints and so on. But here, this area with the wood and atmosphere, matte wood, just listen to that. This is so beautiful, awesome. And everyone who's looking at that vehicle said, oh my God, this looks amazing from the inside. The looks. What about the user interface? Going to take a look at that. But first of all, finish the looks here, the air vents on the top part. They also belong to the, screaming out features. And of course the ambient lighting, which is, for example, also changing if you control temperature, like here warmer, then you have these red stripes, and colder, you have these blue ones. That looks amazing. And steering wheel, once again, great form. It feels so much sportier in the Amg-line with the Amg-line steering wheel. But I'm not happy with the capacitive buttons here, also, for example, for the volume control and so on. The fuel economy, this is excellent actually. This was not predominantly motorway driving with cruise control, and that would mean 9 liters per kilometer is 26 mpg US, 31 mpg UK. However, when you think more in realistic terms and so on, this can also be higher, of course, than something 10, 11 liters or some 20 mpg US, some 25 mpg UK when you drive more city or when you drive a little bit faster and so on. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
What's the difference between Mercedes and BMW?
Super. Business is all about competition.
Details to the screens. Here the temperature control always stays in the same place. That's good. However, it's just more effort to do it like this than with physical buttons. And here in the lower part, this one button, this is like this whole thing is one button. That's so weird. And here also a slider for the volume, for example. I think that really downgrades the otherwise fantastic interior indeed. Here, the software, you can see here the Apple CarPlay integration. And the sound system here, Burmester sound system, is really amazing. When you pump it up really loud, and then also have good bass and so on, you really feel it in in your feet actually down there. This is so amazing, so a great sound system, really a big fan of it. Then you can go back to the Mercedes menu with the home screen. It looks like this, and the GPS is right here. And it's also, let's say, somewhat responsive enough. It also has good route guidance. I tested that yesterday on the motorway, so also had a good rerouting and so on. So I'm actually then happy with that. So most of the time I'll probably use the car internal GPS and then the Apple CarPlay system. Oh, and that's nice here. Look at that. The visor, sun visor, is kind of double. You can fold down this, and then you have here and here actually. Rear seating area also looks amazing. Same seat structure with the quilting. And then we also have the rear seat entertainment, but I'm not so sure about crash safety for these. Definitely better without them. And then there's also another tablet here in the middle part. And at the inside of the rear passenger door, you can press this button, and then that front seat moves like this forward. It takes a while, it goes also a little bit more upward. For the driver then, it does block the view to the right front, so that is a safety issue indeed for the chauffeur. But, well, here, that's then all about the comfort right here. Look at that legroom that is building up there. And also then here, the footrest is right here for most comfort. And then it looks like this, so super relaxing. However, with 1m86 or 6'1", you can not fully stretch your legs. You need to be like 180 or 5'9". Then you can also really fully stretch your legs. Or another trick is to be like a little bit sideways. Then it's also better. But I mean, nevertheless, it's very nice to relax right here and do something else. Just have that enormous space. And then again, you can make it 5 to 4-seater and have another cubby hole right here with USB-C charging, and also in the lower part you have more USB-C and also HDMI control, so you can have some interface for the screens and so on. So this is a very cool atmosphere, and the rear cushions here, just again, amazing, super comfortable. My favorite feature of this vehicle actually. And now the rear ones here can also be heated. And as you can see here, there's ventilation for the rear seats and heating, and also at the same time, for what is that? Well, for example, it's winter time and you got wet in rain or something, then you can dry and be warm at the same time. And from here you can also control that rear shade. Trunk space is 550 liters or 12 cubic feet, and the length here is almost 120 in meters or 47 inches. And you see here, vertical way for the cabin trolley is actually no problem, and loading things through actually just works via this middle ski hatch. You have to open it from the rear and like twice, and here like hello, oh, and then it stays open. That's a cool feature. Oh, and then through the ski hatch you directly look through the infotainment system. Wow, that's an amazing perspective, isn't it? Just found out about that. Super interesting. And now welcome to Thomas's passive driving lounge, being chauffeured. Cornelius was so nice to do it here today, because we always take your feedback seriously. You want to see when we review a luxury sedan class, we always show me being driven. And of course the first thing I would do right here is activate this lying position, and just one press of a button right here. And I mean, but already the normal position is super comfortable here in that seat. This is of course always spectacular to see how it moves forward and upward and so on. It does block the view for Cornelius then a little bit to the right front, but yeah, here then it's about the VIP being chauffeured right here. And I was just driving in the Audi A8 in the rear, and I really have to say the seat here is way more plush. So even without this function here, of course in the A8L you also have this kind of chauffeur function, but the seating itself I feel is more comfortable here with the S-Class. And my shoes are gladly clean, so I can also put them on here. But even in the Maybach I cannot stretch my legs completely, so but still, I mean, it's a very comfortable position here. Middle console, I can fold down here for that screen, because when it's like this I cannot reach the screen right there, without leaning forward all the way. So that's actually then a practical thing to have. So now I got the tablet running. I have basically all the functions mirrored. I have there also in the front. Then I can also activate the different massage forms. For example, here on the activating massage, and wow, that's really so relaxing. It's a very, very sophisticated massage. That's what I really fancy. So yeah, massage function is probably the thing that I would do most of the time in here with this tablet in my hand. Or maybe also change a little bit of the ambient lighting or so on from here. So at least from here, when you play around with the ambient lighting right here, then you're not distracted as the driver is, and then you can just enjoy the different colors here. I mean, these cushions here are so comfortable, and they can also be heated in the rear. That's of course another great comfortable feature. Suspension-wise, also the S-Class has the most plush air suspension, I would say, if you also compare Audi A8 and BMW 7 Series. So yeah, I think for the rear passenger, the S-Class really leads it, because the other ones, BMW 7 Series and Audi A8, are more fun to drive yourself. But the S-Class is better when being driven. This is original Thomas Driving Lounge here at night, with the Mercedes S-Class S500, around 430 horsepower from this 3-liter inline 6-cylinder, and this also has mild hybrid technology here now. So when I'm on the brakes, this EQ charge meter goes up, and so I can regenerate some of the power back again. This helps the fuel economy, and you can drive this car actually, very efficient. So my best result for long-term motorway driving is indeed some 9 liters and more kilometers, which is then some 30 mpg. That's excellent for this kind of engine, for this kind of size. You can also see this area here to the right, how it looks so cool when it's illuminated at night, and even continue further onto the rear seating. This is actually one of my favorite features, both in the new S-Class and also in the Mercedes EQS, that they look so extremely stunning at night. This brings so much more emotion to it, you know, and I just love driving this car at night. The standard air suspension is set on such a soft tone that you really still feel that's an air suspension. And then you put on your favorite songs, put on your favorite ambient lighting, and you can just really like flow through the night, I would call it that way. It's really excellent. Steering input is also very natural, I like that. So you don't have to steer too much. It's not super progressive though, but it feels very natural. And here with the Amg-Line steering wheel, the car is indeed better to control and feels sportier just by this smaller size steering wheel. I really do prefer that. So that would be my number one reason to go for the Amg-Line, that you get this steering wheel. And I can show you when I'm changing the temperature here. Now it's getting a little bit colder outside now, though it has been a warm and nice day. Here when I put it warmer now, we have this, I mean, it goes all the way into the doors. It looks so amazing. When I want it colder again, the same thing happens then with the blue light, no matter which light I have initially set it to. And this is still also one of my favorite emotional features. And now this hairpin corner that's coming ahead, that looks also really very well illuminated. See how there it builds up again. Wow. That actually, you seen that? There, it saved some parts out. Interesting. Maybe that's because of, it's maybe thinking like, oh, there's when something is reflecting, that might be a car or something. That could be. Wow, have you seen that? There were parked cars at the side of the roads, and the lights spared out the vehicles which were parked at the side of the road. That's super interesting. And yeah, I mean, you don't even know where to look at, like ambient lighting, infotainment screen, how the light is being built up and back again. You know, when we have lanterns on the street, there it is, you know. Then it goes back again, so you're like, okay, we're in like the rural side. There's lanterns, and maybe like people, other cars around. And when there it is, lanterns are gone, full light throttle, automatically again, and this is really cool. And let's go 50 kilometers an hour and accelerate it out. Let's go. That's 200, 125 miles an hour. Wow. And how silent the car is just amazing. That is just amazing. And how well the car is to control, and look how far we can see ahead with this light. That's really amazing. Sports Plus mode here. Suspension is also a little bit stiffer. I have more control of the vehicle, and it's definitely one of the best silent cars on the road. So well insulated now on the brakes, and considering it's such a heavy car, still feels very good and controlled while braking. It is not the sportiest sedan, so BMW 7 Series or an Audi A8 do feel way sportier indeed, yes. So that's the question what you prefer. Here in the S-Class, the special thing is that you still get this carpet-alike driving feeling. That's also, I think, a really cool thing to have. Tell me in the comments, please, if you like this nighttime driving special, and if you want to see that with more cars, and if yes, then with what vehicles do you want to see these night rides here, and if we should make them separate or if we should include them in the review. Let me know what you think. And wow, this has been really an immersive experience together with you guys. Now let's switch on the lights. Welcome to the German motorway. Now at day sports mode. We are at 100 kilometers an hour, and let's see. That's 160 kilometers an hour. that went quite quick. The engine not that notable actually, so rather subtle. The 6-cylinder we have here in the S500, but still quick acceleration. And in the sports mode we also have some more feedback from the suspension, so it gets a little bit stiffer. Still, even in the sport mode, the car is set in comfort, and wow, I mean, this is so silent here, 170 kilometers an hour, and you hardly hear anything. So the noise insulation is, yeah, probably the best in the industry, or among the best in the industry. That is so cool. And I really like this AMG steering wheel. As for, you know, the steering input, the looks, and you know how you can touch it from the, you know, from the form, from the size, and so on. Yeah, I think capacitive buttons, they still get on my nerves, also when using the cruise control and so on. Here at the moment, road is blocked, so I can just as well use the cruise control, and it immediately also sets in with the lane keeping assist, and you're supposed to keep your hands on the steering wheel here with the level 2 system. Level 3 system is available now with the S-Class and allowed in some markets. And this is really interesting. We have an EQS driving review with an autonomous level 3 demonstration. That's very, very interesting. But you can see, didn't even touch the steering wheel. Car is being held in the lane. Very impressive. And how smooth it is, you know, like not like wobbling around and stuff, and still not saying I have to get, no, I get the information, and oh, that even went away without me doing anything. So usually it's capacitive here, you know, the steering wheel, so I just have to touch it and then that's it. Here like this, there we go, and the warning message is gone actually. So very impressive how the assistance systems work here in this all new S-Class, and the whole driving dynamics, the whole driving feeling, the calmness in the interior, this has even more been improved. And my point once again was, or is, the user interface is worse than before. Everything else, driving wise and so on, is better than before. Yeah, it's still some kind of a trade-off for sure, but I mean, driving wise, the vehicle still amazes me. This is such a cool ride. Once again, the long wheelbase version, or the US version V223 we are driving here now, so especially relevant for all US viewers. And this is globally the S-Class. So they develop the S-Class from this version, from the long wheelbase one, and then cut something out for the short wheelbase, basically. Usually it's the other way around when driving, you know, when developing short and long wheelbase vehicles here, they really start with the long wheelbase. Please now. Cancel that acceleration. Oh, leave that SUV by. Yeah, but you see here, you know, changing between accelerating and braking again is really decent. And now we're already at 200 kilometers an hour, 125 miles an hour. I mean, especially our US fans must be like, this guy is somehow nuts, because like, oh, you know, we're at 200 kilometers, 125 miles an hour. Yeah, 90% of the world's population have never driven at that speed, and this guy, oh, you know, yeah, it's Germany, it's business as usual. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it still is. There will probably be a speed limit coming ahead in Germany, and there's big discussion about it, of course. And I always say you have to differentiate between what you like driving yourself and what is actually better for society to do. Yeah, and that doesn't have, you know, to be equal always, you know. Here at higher speeds also, you know, when you shake it a little bit up, shake it up. So, yeah, you feel the air suspension is still set on a soft tone, even if you're on the sports mode. So you feel the car is moving somewhat, but that's also, let's say, okay, because it differentiates this vehicle. The S-Class, and especially when you go to the comfort driving mode, when you have some waves inside here, you know, inside the road, then it really goes like, whoa, floating, like, without being too exaggerated or something. But when you would have an Audi A8 or a BMW 7 Series, for example, they rather have the sporty approach also in the base version, and the S-Class is more, once again, the luxury comfort focus with a rather floating air suspension. And I think as for air suspension, that's good, because I enjoy, for example, like the BMW adaptive suspension is one of the best suspensions there is in their big vehicles, and you don't need an air suspension then actually. But when you go for an air suspension, I think the Mercedes approach is cool, that you still tell the customer, hey guys, this is an air suspension, you feel it because you're like flying in the air. That's, I think, a cool approach, and it has to be that way. With the AMG models by Mercedes, they still pick the air suspension nowadays and then make it so stiff that is that an air suspension? Wait a minute, that's even worse in comfort than an air suspension. What is this? I think that's totally unnecessary. Why would you do that? Then you can go for another, normal steel spring or whatever, or make it adaptive dampers or something. So once again, it's one of the best motorway vehicles there is. So comfortable, so relaxing, so silent. That is once again really top notch. And look at that ambient lighting. You can even see it at daytime when it's a little bit darker. I just love that ambient lighting thing. The only thing that comes above that is the Mercedes EQS. There, the ambient lighting looks even more kick-ass. Did I just say that? Well, and of course, now you got interested, watch our Mercedes EQS review.